Welcome to the Spotlight segment. This is a segment dedicated to interviews with developers or interesting happenings in the world of Android. And now for this week's episode, here's your Spotlight. All right, guys. So this is our very first open session for the listeners. This is our first one for 2025, as Ed indicated, and we're so thankful that you guys have joined us. So let's go ahead and talk. It's just an open forum. We're just going to talk about things that matter to us. Things we want to see in the future, especially this year. What are some of the dreams that we have? Let's start with. Does anyone think that we may somehow get a new TTS engine? I know Karen and I are always big-time TTS guys. We love TTS engines. Do you think that somehow out of the blue, I highly doubt that someone would actually go out to give us one, but I don't know why I have the nagging or the feeling somehow that somehow somebody's going to bring us a new TTS. I don't know where I'm getting that feeling from, but it keeps nagging and tugging at my heart that we might actually have some new TTS engine. Is anyone satisfied with the TTS state that we have on Android? I know it's a pitiful state of affairs.
I think we're on a tipping point with TTS. There should be a point where all these new 11 Labsy type, even more natural sounding voices than vocalizer and a cappella, which are never that natural sounding anyway, become TTSable, but it doesn't seem to have quite happened yet. So it sort of feels like it should be soon, and when it does tip, it'll be quite good. What they'll have to sort is obviously the lag and all that jazz. But that is what I hope would happen.
Yeah, because, I keep thinking that, hey, 11 Labs is like a leader in this segment. And I keep hoping, hope after hope, that these guys would somehow give us something, even though, because I was reading something on their site. They were pushing out something for developers, and they have a version that is not you have to pay attention to really notice any difference. And, it kind of awakened my hope, thinking that, hey, maybe finally we may get something, but I don't know. Usually people have to be able to take advantage of that. Developers take advantage of that. And of course, they're going to charge some money or whatever to be able to access that. But frankly, I'm looking at the Sarah Play guys. I wonder what it would take for them to, because they have a lot of TTS, different voices, right? They could, speed that thing up a little bit, but I don't know. I've been trying to get them on. Maybe, Ed, are they not from the Scottish area, Scotland? I know the last time, I think Sarah Proc was from Scotland. Do you want to get them on here? I've been trying to get those guys, but it seems they never care to respond to my messages. So I don't know what the deal is.
They changed the style of their app, didn't they? And I know they've got Scottish voices. If they are British, I'll have a look. I've got some of their voices, but I've never paid much attention to them. But yeah, I'll have a look. If they're British, I'll try and get them on board.
Yeah, because my thinking is that I think they understand what we need, and if they could kind of make it a little bit better, and also improve the manner in which one installs their voices. I got several of their voices, and frankly, I just don't like the whole idea of installing one after the other. I kind of prefer the way that a cappella does it. You want to update install all of your voices and just tap yes and just watch the whole thing get installed. I think I got like 8 or so a cappella voices and maybe more of the Sarah Play voices, but I just don't like the experience of installing the voices.
So, we really need some more players in the game. We really need some more languages supported. Like, for example, my friend Amir keeps on saying that Persian is not really supported, so I think they really need a good TTS engine. So I'm really calling out some those famous makers, TTS makers, to make it offline, especially as you said, 11 Labs. They really should make their voices on Android.
Is there support for 11 labs? I mean, in the Persian language, like if someone has it and wants to read a book with it, do you know?
Yeah, they do.
And what sort of TTS do we think we want? Do we want more of the fast, responsive, eloquency, e-speaky ones, or is it the 11 labsy ones we want, where there might be a performance compromise?
I think I'd like to chip in this. Look, the thing is, when it comes to TTS, I'm not. I don't know. I'm speaking for myself only. Um, I love ETI a lot. I don't know why. Now, people have recommended, and I've been trying to find a way to, break away from. I don't know. I didn't start with ETI, by the way. I started with Google TTS and Hogback. Back then, there were no, you don't have any. When you are not exposed to something else, you would think probably you had the best option. And but when I got introduced to ETI, I fell in love with it, and that's it. Right now, I've been trying to move away. I couldn't. I tried using it speak for a while. I just couldn't last using it speak for 1 hour. I couldn't. And I've even purchased a cappella, and I think I have like 10 voices with a cappella and vocalizer as well. I've got the UK voices, but all except for the Scottish voices, the US voices as well, all except for the um, kids' voice in there. And I struggle to, I don't know, maybe when I get a device that's only 64 bits, maybe that will force me to move. But as per what I'm looking for, it would be nice if we can get something, if not exact, maybe close to ETI. I don't know. Some others would find it annoying, but for me, I don't know. I found it responsive. But I mean, we all have our preferences and all of that. But for me, I think I love ETI a lot. It's just quite unfortunate what happened to it. But I think one of the major problem why we really do not have much, people, developers, focusing on developing TTS and all of that, probably could be how lucrative is the business of developing TTS engine. I'm just looking at it from a business angle. I was actually speaking with someone last year. I was planning on actually working on some things. I'm an OAP and all of that. So I was trying to work on some programs related to accessibility and all of that. And somebody just called me and said, "Guy, it's not that lucrative. Focus on something that is going to benefit both parties, both those who need something accessible, wise, and those, and sighted as well." So I think the problem would be that maybe it's not that lucrative. So I can speak for myself, that if a good TTS comes out today, if it's selling for $20, I'm going to buy it, but I can also speak for several Nigerians that, in fact, I clash with so many people here who have the mentality of, oh, we should have it for free. Why should they charge for it and all of that? I was actually trying to introduce cash reader to someone and was telling the person, no, you have to pay for the app. And I was like, oh, no, 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 no. So that's I think is where most of the problem lies. how lucrative is it if a developer wakes up tomorrow and say, "Oh, I'm developing TTS engine. I mean, good enough and all of that." Yet that there are those who are going to buy, but as well there are those who are going to turn around and find a way through the back door, and make the work uncomfortable. Uncomfortable is not a word. I can't find a better word right now. But my point is, it's a business, right? But how lucrative is it? Is it going to be subscription based or one-time purchase? A one-time purchase as well. I don't think you guys understand what I'm saying. If it's a one-time purchase as well, if I buy it now, I'm not going to buy it again. So I think the problem could be how lucrative is it? Is it if it's lucrative business? Trust me, a lot of people will be piling up to do something. Fantastic. That's my opinion on this.
Well, I want to comment on what you're saying. Actually, you're raising important points here. And for me, I think that what you're saying is so much valid. Well, Android is not iOS. Unfortunately, one of the downsides here is that we have the problem of cracks. And, even a cappella has been a victim of cracking recently. A cappella which was able to stand against cracking, which was able to do a lot to fight cracking, it was a victim recently due to, I don't want to talk about this type of devs who are just stealing others' efforts. Well, they don't deserve actually talking about them or trying to talk about what they are doing, because everyone knows that they are hurting the community, they're hurting everyone, they're hurting the devs, and everyone wants money at the end of the day. When you do something, you want to get something in return, which is how business works. So if you want to make it not like that, well, actually there will be no innovation, there will be no more development, which is normal, which is the logic actually. But people don't understand this. They just think about things like, now, what I'm getting now, I'm getting it for free, okay? And they don't think about the future. They don't think about the people's efforts, which is what they're doing is stealing. We can't say anything other than it's stealing. But because it's easy to be done, and it's like sometimes having an open platform has its negatives, and this is one of the negatives of this open platform that we have on Android. So I can see that TTS engine makers could go to iOS. If there is something new, they could work on iOS, especially after the opening of the operating system for development, TTS development. So I'm not really optimistic currently. Well, there are things that we can hope for. For example, the available now, the available engines that we have, like the Piper project, and there is another project, I now can't remember its name. They have a potential if they are ported to Android, and if they are responsive enough, which is also needs thinking of, are they going to be really responsive, especially on phones that are not flagships? So this is also a point, because for us blind people, we need the TTS engine to be so much responsive. So, but for those to be ported, we need someone to work on them. And I don't know if we have really this type of people who is willing really to do this. And the last thing that I want to talk about is the big players like Samsung and Google. Google, for example, is not doing anything to give us high quality voices. Yeah, we have the voices that we call high quality, but they are so much compressed. We can't say that they are really high quality. And for this reason, actually Google is capable of giving us something really good. But is Google going to do that? I don't think so. And another example is Samsung, which is, yeah, it has some neural voices, but many voices are not available other than on the S series phones. So also this is causing trouble for people who are having phones like the A series phones. And you have an A series phone, Emilio. So actually, many people are actually the most selling devices of Samsung are A series phones. So this is also depriving all of those people of the new voices. So I don't know. I'm not very optimistic, but let's see. Let's wait and see. Actually.
So, Emilio made a very important point earlier on, people not wanting to pay for. And I think the reason, though, it probably has to do with the fact that your phone comes natively with a TTS, with this Samsung phone. You do have the Samsung voices there, and if you have some other manufacturer, then it may have Google TTS. So out of the box, we have that TTS engine. And so I can see why someone may feel like, hey, why do I need to pay for another TTS? Because they don't realize that, the reason why they have this is because of this manufacturer give them the Google TTS, which is free. I don't know if it's really free. Always, like they say, nothing is really free. You are the product. So if you get something free, it's not really free in a sense. But so I can see why people may think that. But if you want a premium experience, for example, you are mentioning the ETI Eloquence out there earlier. It's something that we got back in, was it 2014? I want to say it was 2014 when it debuted. And it was a game changer because you now have a more speedy experience because, to be honest, most of the experiences or the laggy experiences that one experiences on TalkBack or whatever Android, sometimes depends on the TTS engine, and that Eloquence kind of made things different when we had it. And so when it got taken away, now we're back to where we started. Of course, back then we had lots of different other ones, but we had that responsive experience. And so it's not free. And talking about subscriptions and all of that one-time payments. So I happen to be one of those that kind of like the one-time payments, but yet in the same breath, I can see where a developer may be a little bit reluctant, because if I'm just going to be having, $5, and it depends on how many people are buying it. If all you have is 500 people that buy that TTS engine, and let's say 250 of them buy it for $500, what's that come up to? 250 times 5 gives me what, guys? I was lousy at math. Ed,
1,250. It gives you 1,250.
Yeah, so if you only have $1,250, it's going to be a very hard sell to want to continue, because you want to keep updating the app. You want to keep it, up to date with the new APIs that come along with the new iteration of the OS and all of that. So I can see where the problem lies. So if I wouldn't mind paying, either annually for a TTS engine, because it's part of the experience. Without that TTS engine, everything is just nonsense, right? So I wouldn't mind paying whether $10 a year for a TTS or whatever, if it's a good one.
Yeah, and I think with the subscription model, it should incentivize the developer to keep developing the app. What you must check, of course, is that the developer still does develop the app, because they could just carry on taking the money. I don't think a free TTS necessarily is one of those examples where you are the product. So if you look at how to raise £1 million off I use a screen reader, it's easier than a TTS. So you could charge 1,000 blind people £1,000 for JAWS, say, but if you build it in to a phone, you could charge 1 million people £1, and you still get £1 million, don't you? So I think probably what happens is the feature is built into every phone and, nominally costed. Whereas if we were buying, I'll use mobile phone examples instead of JAWS, mobile speak from days gone by, or talks, or some of the other ones. If you're selling to a smaller market, you increase the price. Whereas if it's built in, as Google or Apple have done, essentially everybody, even if you're not using the feature, it is paying that smaller amount. I mean, going back as well to the ETI eloquence point, can you ever wean yourself off it? I certainly never could with a 32-bit device. I tried the other ones. I do now have a 64-bit device and have kind of had to. So yeah, you're not going to do it on a 32-bit device. I think you'll always go back to it. But life goes on, and you can survive on a 64-bit device without ETI eloquence.
So I think that ETI eloquence thing, though, is probably because one got used to it using the JAWS on the computer. I know lots of us grew up on JAWS or whatever, and all of that. Now, ironically, for me, I just ever since eloquence started having problems and got pulled, and I moved on. Frankly, I don't miss it. I still use it on my computer, don't get me wrong, but I never have the urge and wishing I could have it on the phone. Maybe because I don't listen to my stuff at breakneck speeds like some do. Maybe that's why. I don't know, but to me, I'm fine, without the eloquence. But I know we've had a very good argument about the fact that there are some people who are hard of hearing, and actually they understand eloquence better, and so I can see where that that need of wanting that particular TTS engine, while it may not matter much to me, but it makes a whole lot of difference to those type of people.
I miss it. I'm not hard of hearing. I really do miss it, but I can't run it. So what am I going to do? Keep on keeping on. Life goes on. Now, I would have eloquence in a heartbeat if I could get it on the S24 or my upcoming S25. But yeah, I do miss it, but I can't use it. So it's fine.